You are listening to Studio MacGyver's Dragon Ball and Video Game Podcast.
What is going down? What the fuck is going down? It is your boy, Studio MacGyver, and you are listening to Studio MacGyver's Dragon Ball and Video Game Podcast. Welcome to the show. Newcomers, I want to welcome you to this podcast. If you're into nerd culture, if you're into anime, if you're into video games, Star Wars, Marvel, all of this, then I think you've come to the right place. We talk about all of that here and everything in between. Let's get started, man. Today's episode is going to be about primarily the brand new Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order video game. Yes, I finally finished it. I cannot wait to talk about this game. It is going to be a lot of spoilers in this podcast, so I'm giving you guys fair warning. If you don't want to know about the story, then I guess you just can't listen to this podcast. I don't want that to happen, but hey, for the sake of people who haven't played this game yet, I do not want to spoil this for you guys. I really don't. And I think that if you don't know about the story yet, then it'd be wise not to listen to this podcast because, man, going into this game blind is probably the best thing you could probably do. I mean, with all the internet stuff going on right now and all the spoilers out there, you know, it's hard enough dealing with that stuff. But, you know, it can be avoided. And if you can't avoid it, and if you're looking forward to playing this still, then I would say go ahead and make that a reality and figure that out for yourself when you get the game. But anyway, I'm going to be talking about that video game. Going to talk a little bit about the last episode of The Mandalorian. Yeah, man, I mean, I'm really stuck in this Star Wars universe right now. And I really can't, I can't get out. I can't escape. I'm stuck here. I'm trying to, venture off. And all I was able to do, honestly, guys, for the last week or two, to escape out of, the Star Wars universe for 1 second was watching Vinland Saga. That's it. There's still episodes of My Hero Academia I have to finish. There's still a couple of episodes of Fire Force that I need to get caught up on. And also Fairy Gone, another anime that I'm kind of currently watching right now. But all of that stuff kind of got put on hold when the Star Wars shit came in, and it just smacked me on the fucking head. And I've been seeing nothing but stars ever since. It started with Battlefront 2. I'm sorry. It started with that, getting ready for the anticipation, of this new Star Wars game. And then that game came out, and then The Mandalorian came out, and then it's just crazy, man. And then I've been really losing myself in the Star Wars universe, looking up, characters and getting lost in, all these forks in the road that, are laid before me, as I look into certain characters and stuff like that. Because when you start with one, it never ends with one. It always ends with, 3 or 4. And then you stumble upon another character that, you take interest in, and then you go there. And then, it just never fucking stops, man. It's crazy. But it's a good thing. It's a very good thing. I think for me, it's, it feels like it's so fresh and so new, to be somebody that is, a rookie or a virgin, in the Star Wars universe. So whenever, you stumble upon something you're not really familiar with, you kind of you're like a kid in a candy store. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. You're just there, and you just you just get off almost on just learning about that world and those characters and what's been going on. And now I understand. I really, really understand why there's so much fandom going on with the Star Wars franchise. I really do. And, I don't see an end, to it. I was just talking to my friend the other day. We were having a major Star Wars discussion, I'm referring to. And you guys have been listening the last few weeks. You've heard him on this podcast. But we were talking about some stuff, and basically, I was asking him, damn, you know what? I am so into this Star Wars shit right now. I really want to kind of, I don't know, do something with it, but I feel that I'm not worthy to start yet because, like I said, I'm fresh. I'm very, very, wet behind the ears, and I'm just learning, some stuff now. Like, I'm just learning now. So there's so much to kind of digest and take in and all of that. And I'm trying to do that slowly but surely. But I want to incorporate more Star Wars stuff in this podcast. I mean, it falls in what we talk about anyway. So, I feel I need to carve a slice for Star Wars out. You know what I mean? And, I think a lot of my listeners would appreciate that because I'm sure there's a lot of Star Wars fans who are listening, who have been listening to this podcast. And, I see, nothing but beautiful things happening in the future with this franchise. I mean, with all the new shows coming out and all the merch and everything else, man, that's been going on in this world, in my world now, it's a beautiful thing. I'm watching Clone Wars, like I'm knee deep in that. I'm taking my time with it though. I'm not binging it like I thought I would. I just kind of want to, take it slow because I still have lots of other things to watch, but I am enjoying myself with the Clone Wars thing, man. And the more and more I watch it, the further I get into it, the more I appreciate it, man. And like I said, it's all lore for me. It's all discovering new characters and backstories on other characters that I may have, heard of, on a whim, in the past or whatever. And like I said, all of those things are very fascinating to me. And I'm enjoying myself right now. But without further ado, let's get this quick little discussion out of the way. For you Half-Life fans out there, I know there's a lot of Half-Life fans out there. I was one of them. I really, really enjoyed the second Half-Life game. And, I heard this news. It's been out here for a little bit now, but they're doing another game. Yes, it's called Half-Life Alyx. And it's, I think it takes place between the first and the second game. And, I got excited when I heard about it. But when I heard more, I kind of sunk my ship. And what I'm talking about is the fact that it is going to be a VR game. I don't know why they do this dumbass shit. I don't know. I just don't understand it, man. A VR game, you know how many fucking fans, how much money you guys are going to miss out on not, putting out a actual console release of this game. And that's not even the worst part about it. I dug in a little bit deeper and I learned that it's not just a VR game, okay? To add insult to injury, okay? Not hating on the VR people out there, but like I said, let's keep it real with each other, guys. The VR shit is very niche right now. It's very early stage. It's very, experimental right now. It's not where it needs to be by any stretch of the imagination, man. I mean, I've tried it. I mean, there's some cool things here and there, but it's nothing like, where it needs to be, what it could be. It's not enough to justify paying what some of these prices are, going for that shit. I mean, that's just my opinion though, but I speak for many when I say that. But anyway, upon further review on this game, I found out that, man, you have to really be in the upper echelon of the PC gaming community to even partake in this fucking game when it comes out. And what I'm saying is, I looked at the specs and the requirements for this is you have to have 12 gigabytes of RAM, and that's the minimum. Okay, that's a lot for a game. That's just the minimum. And you also have to have a fucking GT 1060 or an RX 580 graphics card. Now, I'm not into, the graphics cards and all that. I'm not a PC gamer. So, that's rubbish to me. But apparently it's not, it's not anything small. It's something that, I think when I looked it up, it was only like 35% of PC owners have. So, and I think as far as the 12 gigabytes of RAM, I think that's like only 45%. So that's, that's crazy. That's less than half. So if you want this game and you want to play this game, you're going to have to upgrade your computer. Yeah, you're definitely going to have to do that. And like I said, if you don't have a VR and you really want to play this game, you're going to have to make that move as well. Those aren't cheap. So I don't know why they made the decision to go VR. And what's so crazy is the fact that, Valve, they said so many times, I don't even know how many times, but can't even count them. But they said that they were never making another Half-Life game. They said this came from their fucking mouths more than once, more than once. So everybody had, for the most part, just about gave up on any other Half-Life games, coming out, me included. And then we get this news and they're doing VR only. Like, that's fucking retarded to me. I'm sorry. It is. I don't know what kind of deal they've signed, but it seems to me like they've got something working. They got something going on, man, because somebody paid them to make a VR game. Probably a pretty fucking penny to do that and exclude all the rest of the gamers. And in the end, I think that's going to bite them in the ass because, I don't think a lot of people are going to purchase this. It's not because, like I said, all the specs and everything added it up. There's going to be sales, but they're not going to be what I think the target is going to be by any stretch, in my opinion. It's a fucking VR game. I mean, like I said, it's still early development and all of that. So I just don't know, man. I mean, I just think that was a bad deal. And they know that, Half-Life fans have been waiting for this shit for years. I think like 12 or 13 years, man, it's been since the last game. And this shit is kind of ridiculous. They could have done so much more if they would have, had this for consoles. They could have made a lot more money. And could have that could have re-sparked the franchise, honestly. But this is not going to do it. This is going to hurt them, I think, in the long run more than it's going to help them. In my opinion, if I have to, put it on paper and write it down, I'd call this a very bad business decision. And like I said, we'll see how it pans out. We'll definitely see how it pans out. But the Half-Life fans out there are hurting all over the world, me included, because I'm not going to get a VR, not to just play this. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. And yeah, I mean, it might as well not even it might as well not even exist right now. You know what I mean? For me, at least, because I'm never going to see it. I'm never going to play it. Now, what I might do is watch somebody online play it if they can capture the footage, and I might do that. But that's money that they're definitely losing out on. Thought I'd add that. Thought I'd talk about that for a second. Thought some of you guys listening might be interested in that, or whatever. Anyway, let's get back to the lessons at hand, and that is going to be, let's start off with some Mandalorian real quick, man. I got to talk about the Mandalorian, episode 3, and I guess what I'm here to say is that I guess we have the time, about the time frame or length of these episodes. I mean, we're not going to get any more than 35 minutes per episode. I guess that's the format we're going on here, and I feel some type of way about that. I mean, I'm being honest. I love the fucking show. I think that this is one of the best shows, man, that I have seen in a long time. And for it to be, the first live action Star Wars show, TV show, it's crazy. I mean, that is just unbelievable, man. It's a great show. Let me just say that. But man, I wish it was longer. I just really wish it was longer, man. I mean, and it's one thing if, okay, we're getting 30-minute episodes, I mean, that's cool. But, at least let's get like a dozen episodes or something. We got 8 for the first season. Now, this could change next season. I think now that Favreau and those guys know that they have, TV gold right here. And like I said, I think I stated this before, they've already started filming season 2 already. So I mean, putting the cart before the horse. I mean, with this show, you can do that, and they're doing it. So my only question is now, next season, how many episodes are we going to get? Are we going to get 8 again? I really hope we don't, and I don't think we will. I think we should at least get 10 to 12, if they're going to be, 30 minutes a piece on average. And yeah, that's where I'm leading to. I mean, that's really my only gripe with the show. I mean, honestly, it's just that it's just going to be too short, man. You know what I mean? Even though all the episodes played out really, really good. And I think maybe they were going for that, because every time, I finish watching one, I feel like a fucking crackhead because I need more. I'm willing to go out, take TVs, take high valuable things from other people, to give me access to another episode of this shit. You know what I mean? What would you do for an extra 10 minutes is what I'm basically saying. Would you slap your mother? Would you pull your dick out and slam it on a table at a Costco's or some shit like that? I mean, what extreme would you go to watch more of this? And that's a slippery slope, because shit, it's so fucking good. I don't know what I might do. You know what I mean? I'm just keeping it real with you guys, 110 fucking percent. But yeah, the show, the episode 3 was really dope, man. I mean, what ended up happening, which is so crazy, is, and I feel I can talk about this show here now, because look, everybody has, if you have Disney Channel, and you're any type of Star Wars fan, even a casual person like I was, but I can't say that now because I'm knee deep in this shit. But you have watched this, okay? I mean, it damn near broke the fucking internet. Damn near broke the app, which, by the way, why I'm talking about it and it's fresh in my mind, let me just put this on the table right now. Disney Plus is not perfect as far as the app itself is concerned. I've had issues with it, and I'm not the only person. Twitter has been lit as fuck over lots of people complaining about their shit not even working. They can't even log in. I mean, I'm thankful that I can at least do that, but the lag is real. I've been watching the Clone Wars, and I don't know what's going on, but man, it lags like a motherfucker every 4 to 5 minutes. You're watching it, it's going good, and next you know, it just freezes up and it starts to buffer. Like, it does that a lot, man. And like I said, the Clone War episodes are only, 20 something minutes. So if it's doing that 5 or 6 times an episode, I mean, that's bad. That's fucking bad. I know they're doing updates. I think I've had a couple updates on my PlayStation since it came out, but they need to do some more, seriously, because this shit is very unstable right now. It's leaning there. It's almost damn near unwatchable. On some aspects. Now, there's been times that I've been able to watch, movies and stuff with no hiccups. It just depends. It does what it wants to do. You know what I mean? It's a fickle fucking beast right now. So it's a tainted lover. It acts like, a fucking tainted lover. It does what it wants to do when it wants to do it. Break my heart on Tuesday, suck my balls on Wednesday. I mean, I don't, I don't know what's going on here, but I understand that it's a fresh app and it's still, in its infancy, and they still have to work out kinks and all that. But I mean, come on, we're talking about Disney here. They should have been ready for this. They should have been prepared for this. And, they're playing catch up right now. So they need to get it together, man. Get it together. I don't want to watch episodes of what shows that I want to watch, and I don't want that experience. I don't. I mean, to be honest with you, I haven't watched more. The reason why I haven't watched any more Clone Wars is because of that. I mean, I'm still in season 2, but I would have been on season 3 by now if it wasn't for the fuckery that's taking place with these this buffering shit that's going on. So get it together, Disney, if you're listening. If you're not, hey, fuck it. Anyway, back to The Mandalorian. It's a great fucking show, guys. Everybody's in love with fucking Baby Yoda. He doesn't have a name. We call him Baby Yoda. You know what I mean? So that's what's up. That is, he is. You can't, he's very irresistible. You know what I mean? But the Mando, I call him Mando because he technically doesn't have a name, so we all call him Mando, the Mandalorian. He goes, takes Baby Yoda, delivers him as he should. He got a shitload of fucking, metal, Mandalorian steel, whatever you want to call it. Went ahead and got his, got his upgrade to, his armor done. And, he was about to, take off. You could tell he was worried about, Baby Yoda, because he asked, what are you guys going to do with him? And apparently it's a rule to never ask about, your bounties, never ask about your assignment or whatever. When you're done, you're done. You move on. They got offended. I mean, these motherfuckers got offended that Mando asked about Baby Yoda. Anyway, they told him, mind your fucking business, whatever, and enjoy the fruits of your labor. So he got his stuff done. He got his armor that he wanted. And, apparently there are a group, and I mean a nice little group of Mandalorians in this show. And you get to see that, in the show. So some of them were a little salty when he came in with all that armor because, it had the emblem basically of the Empire on there. So a couple guys got offended. There was a tussle ensued or whatever. They got broken up, but there was a little tension in the air. Anyway, he got his armor done. He was, moving on to another assignment, and he could not stop thinking about Baby Yoda. It's very hard to stop thinking about something so cute and cuddly, and he just couldn't do it. So he decided to say, fuck it, and go back. Like I said, I'm talking about shit most of you guys have already seen, but the show, it kind of turned where I thought it was going to happen. I mean, he turned the baby in, he got remorseful, and he said, fuck it, I'm going back to get him. So basically he reneged on his agreement. He already took the armor, he took the steel, made his armor, got his stuff done with it, and then went back and stole the fucking baby, man. And he killed a lot of motherfuckers to do it. He did. And as he was trying to escape, he pretty much had every other bounty hunter on his dick. And, including Carl Weathers, who was basically, leading the front line. And you can tell that those guys respect each other. You really can. There's a scene where basically a battle ensues. It's the Mando versus pretty much everybody else, all these other bounty hunters. And then epic shit that took place was the fact that all the other Mandalorians, man, most of them had jetpacks, not all of them, but most of them had jetpacks, came in and basically took out the rest of the fucking the hunters, the bounty hunters, man, and made a way for Mando to escape and get off of that planet. And as he was doing that, heading to his ship, he got on his ship, and then guess who shows up? Carl Weathers with a gun. Tell him to turn around. He's not going to shoot him in the back, out of respect and whatnot, because they did have a decent relationship. Carl Weathers was sitting there basically like, man, why the fuck did you make me do this? I didn't want to do this, man. And what happens is Mando pulls out his gun. He shoots, Carl Weathers in the chest. Carl Weathers falls out of the fucking, ship and hits the ground. But what's so funny is that the fact that Mando shot him exactly where he wanted to. Earlier on in the show, Mando saw that he kept, Carl Weathers kept he had some armor, so Mandalorian steel of his own, and it's very valuable. So it's almost like money, cash or whatever. So he had it right in his, jacket. And the Mando saw that, he knew where it was at, and that's where he purposely shot him there. So not to kill him. At least that's what I think. And he's still alive. So I think that Carl Weathers' role in this is going to be more of I don't want to say double agent, but I mean, I was leaning towards something like that. I think that his, affinity for the Mando, his respect for the Mando is going to play a big part later on, when we get further on into the season, or even it might even roll and spill over into the next season. But that's the basic episode, of how everything went down. He's got Baby Yoda. I don't know, man. It's something that's going on because apparently nobody really knew anything about, Yoda's race. Nothing. It on purpose. It was just a straight mystery. And now we're starting to get a few things. Now, what really the question I'm asking myself is, where is this going? Where is this going to lead to? Because it could probably lead to, more information, on that, on Baby Yoda's race, and more, we learn more about them. And then it could even expand into, another Star Wars, story in a future, endeavor later on down the line. So many things, man, that they're really starting to, dig into this shit, man, especially in the TV stuff. Now, I love the fact that everything doesn't have to be obtained, in movies. I mean, for years though, if I'm keeping it real, it's been books and novels and stuff like that. But then there's a question of what's canon, what's not canon. You know what I mean? When Disney bought them, they changed things around, just all kind of things. So if you ask me, in my opinion, I love it all. The stuff that's not considered canon, like in some of the books and novels, is cool with me too, because it's all technically fantasy. You know what I mean? None of this shit is real. So, I will definitely sit back and enjoy other Star Wars stories that, aren't necessarily considered canon, but they take place in the Star Wars universe. So I'm down for all of that. But yeah, it's a good time to be a fan. It's definitely, a great time to be excited for that, because like I said, the TV is just as good as the movies, if not better than some of the movies even. And the production value is so high now with the technology that we have here. It's crazy. You know what I mean? To even think like that now, but it's here. We're in times where we can, do these things, for a small budget. And they're making it look very fucking easy, which I'm sure it's not, but I'm enjoying myself thoroughly. I can't wait for the next episode. It almost pains me to, say that we only have 8 episodes, because man, what am I going to do then? I still have my Clone Wars, and I still have Rebels that I'm going to get into as well. I don't know, man. People are saying it's a mixed bag. I'm getting mixed reviews on that. There's a lot of people who say that, it's a little watered down from the Clone Wars, but there's also people who say that there's a lot of pivotal moments and events that take place in Rebels. And there's a lot of things that are important that happen in Rebels as well. So I'm going to watch it. I'm going to be my own judge and find that out, because I'm really enjoying, like I said, the Clone Wars, the animation, just, learning about these characters. And it's a really, really dope show. And a lot of people, especially Star Wars fans, they really, gravitate towards, the Clone Wars, and even the Rebels. I looked it up, and they've all got rave reviews as far as, scores and all of that. So I'm going to check it out, man. Anyway, yeah, that's going to do it for The Mandalorian. But yeah, I'll definitely touch up on the next week's episode here. I'll probably make it a normal thing, because it's only going to be, another month or so of it, and then there won't be any more anyway. So yeah, we'll go from there. Anyway, the meat and potatoes of the podcast, guys, I want to get into now, and that is the motherfucking Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. This fucking game was amazing. This game was fucking amazing. I beat it in just under a week. So glad I bought the game. It is definitely my game of the year. And I'm going to have an episode, in a few weeks about my game of the year, my anime of the year. And, there's going to be definitely honorable mentions in there. And we'll be talking about all of that. Don't know if I'll have a guest or not, but I'm leaning towards that. Anyway, might even have my boy, Wonder Soul back on here. I don't know. I meant to call him. I was supposed to call him today, and I was so busy, but I'm going to make that a reality, man. Wonder Soul, if you're listening to this podcast, man, I do want to link up, man. And I do want to talk about some Star Wars stuff and just other stuff that's been going on. We haven't spoken a little bit. So yeah, let's make that happen. Anyway, Jedi Fallen Order. Let's get on this game. I'm going to keep it real and be honest with you guys. When I first heard about this game, and saw small clips and who was going to be playing the protagonist and all of that, I really thought, it wasn't going to be that special. The character didn't look that special. I didn't know too much about him as far as the actor. He just didn't seem, I wasn't excited about it. I wasn't. Some people just have that look where for whatever reason it's just it doesn't you don't gravitate to it for whatever reason. And I wasn't the only person feeling like that. That was going around the internet, when we first got clips and we first got, images and stuff. But man, can I just be humble right now and tell you guys that I couldn't have been so wrong in my fucking life. I really couldn't. Cal Kestis is the character's name, is a young Padawan who, during Order 66 was one of the Jedi, who were hiding. Because, a quick little rundown of the Order 66 is basically the Purge, which is, something that Vader and them had planned to basically just go kill all the fucking Jedi. Just kill any Jedi. If you know where that Jedi lives, show me, and so we can go kill this motherfucker. That's pretty much what they were doing. So there were only, maybe a couple hundred at the most left in the whole galaxy. And they're all doing their own thing. They're all hiding. They went into hiding, and, rightfully so. And they don't want to be found out. You know what I mean? And Cal Kestis, which is the main character of the story, was one of those characters who, he was just a Padawan whose master was killed, and he went off in hiding, and he was working at a scrap mill somewhere and just, trying to live his life under radar. And that's pretty much how the game starts. You know what I mean? He basically is at work, and there's an accident that happened at work, and that accident took place. His friend was in the accident, so he didn't want his friend to die. So he used his force ability to save his friend. It was kind of like just an instinct type of thing. And then, basically the word got out that, some motherfucker out here using force abilities, and this motherfucker looks a little too wet. Those new listeners, wet is W-E-T-T. It's a term I came up with, and it means amazing and highly skilled. So if you hear me say wet or use wet, that's what I'm referring to. I have to say that every fucking time. But anyway, that's what happened. And, the Inquisitors, which are these people who are also former Jedi or Padawans who, were taken in by the Empire and used to hunt fucking Jedi and kill them. That's their only purpose. That's their whole purpose, is to go after other Jedi and try to kill them and take them out. And, that's who showed up on the work site, and your friend ended up dying, and just everything went to shit. It went from sugar to shit really, really fucking quick. And basically Cal's on the run. They're after him. They know he's a Jedi now. They're trying to, kill all the Jedi, and that's where you are in the game, man. That's where it starts. And you get, rescued by an unknown clique, an unknown team. Somebody just came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden, they're trying to help you. And you got, a female by the name of Seer, first name Seer, last name Junda, the pilot of the ship, which his name is Geese. And he's a character. He's definitely a character. He's got a little comic relief in the game or whatnot, which is cool. The ship is awesome, by the way. And later on in the game, you actually run across another shipmate. And that shipmate her name is Marin, and I'll get to her a little bit later. But, oh man, all these characters, every character in this game, they're all fucking tight. Like, they all have dope stories. The lore, like I said, another thing that I'm a sucker for is lore in video games. Lore, period. I mean, really, lore is what got me into this, the Star Wars universe, how I am in right now. Because, just so many different characters, man. So many different Jedi, so many different Sith. I mean, clones. I mean, just so many things, man. The history is just so crazy. And I'm just very intrigued by that. And, the story, the female who rescued you, she's actually, and I'm talking about Seer, she's actually a fucking Jedi master. Okay. She's a fucking Jedi master, or a former Jedi master, shall I say, who basically, got broken. She was broken. She got kidnapped and got broken. And basically she had a Padawan, and her Padawan, she ended up getting broke and giving up the location of her fucking Padawan. They found her Padawan, took her in, and basically turned her to the dark side, turned her into an Inquisitor. The same Inquisitor, which is the second sister who was after you throughout the fucking game. Okay? There's a ninth sister in here too, and she plays a part in Star Wars lore or whatnot. But the second sister, man, is like one of the main characters that everybody's, gushing over as far as, how she was written in the story. But Seer, that's her cross to bear. I mean, it's fucking crazy, man. It's a darker story. It's a darker Star Wars story. And I really appreciated that about this game. And like I said, the character Cal, the main character, he literally grew on me. And by halfway, about 60% in the game, through the game, I was loving this dude, man. I was like, yo, that's my dude, man. That is one of my favorite Jedi now. After I finish this game, because the story tells a tale about a Padawan who, dealt with a lot of trauma and dealt with a lot of guilt, for surviving the purge and transitioning into an actual fucking Jedi. That's really what this story was about, because as a Padawan, when the order started and his master was killed, he basically was forced to run and hide. Therefore, he didn't have any more teachings. He basically stopped his training. So he forgot a lot of the shit that, he had learned as a Padawan. And, you don't use that muscle. You don't work that muscle for an extended period of time. It's going to get soft. It's going to get weak and, all of that. So he had to learn on the fly after being discovered again, how to, get his abilities back and how to understand them, and then actually becoming a certified fucking, Jedi. And to do that, you have to have a master. And it just worked out so perfectly that she was a master, a former master, and she ended up being the one who knighted him, and making him a Jedi Knight, making it, canon, making it real, making it legal, if you want to use that term. But yeah, man. And she did it with a fucking Sith blade, which is, even more crazy. But all I can say is the story is just so awesome, man. The story, just and let's put the story aside for a second and let's get into the gameplay, because, it was so grounded. It's its own game. Like, how can I put this? How am I trying to say this? Like take The Force Unleashed, for instance. Those two games, completely separate things, man. You know what I mean? Like, I love the realism of certain things. You know what I mean? I love the fact that this game was that grounded, because like I said before, it's about becoming a Jedi. You don't just, start this game and you're just going to be wet out here in these Star Wars streets and just going to be just killing motherfuckers to get shit done. No, that's not how it was worked. That's not how it was made. It was made to be realistic. You know what I mean? And that's a realistic story of somebody who hasn't, who's been a Padawan and hadn't studied anything for years, because of what took place. And, the Purge was just, what I'm really learning is that, man, that was a major arc, man, in the Star Wars universe. It had so much to do with so many different things and so many different characters, man. Stuff I'm learning about even in Rebels, about Kanan, this dude named Kanan Jarrus. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I think he also goes by Caleb Dune. I mean, it's crazy scenarios. And all these characters, man, and the Purge was real. It was real out here in these fucking Star Wars streets. And this game, basically kind of gives you an opening into that world, and what was going on at that time. And it was a beautiful thing. The exploration in this game, I mean, you think, when I first started playing it, I was like, okay, I kind of see how this is going. But the game did such a good job of making you think that it was all going to be about this. Like you got, you got the play loops, down. You kind of figured out, okay, this is how we do this. And then I'll be doing this for the majority of the game. And then they just fucking flip it and smack it and rub it down on you right in your fucking face. Like, no, this is not all that this game is about. I mean, before that shit was done, man, I ended up getting this fucking device that allowed me to go underwater and swim and, unlocking other areas and stuff in the game and other secrets in the game based off of that. Just different things, man, that I just didn't see happening that actually happened, and rides that I was taking on throughout this experience, man, throughout this adventure. You know what I mean? The paths and the openings and some of the level designs, man, are just ridiculous. Especially like Zepho, which is my favorite planet in the game. We all have our favorites. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, you got Braca, you got Zepho, you got Kashyyyk, you got Ordo Eris. Man, that's another thing. Let me just talk about that. And like I said, for somebody who like is new to the Star Wars game, apparently that's the place where all the Padawans go to get their lightsaber crystals, for their lightsabers, man. And since he was a Padawan when this shit happened, he never got that opportunity to do that since his master died. So, I mean, he went through all of this shit. He went there. He went to find his fucking crystal. He went, to actually fully, he had to go through all the things he had to go through, just like I said, a Jedi was and had to do. And I just think that the game design, you know what I mean? Like all of that was fucking dope, man. Like the area was snowing and it's like true, straight up Star Wars lore. You know what I mean? And when you're walking around in there, you can feel the history, in that place. I love shit like that. You know what I mean? God of War had a lot of those moments in there. And this reminds me of a God of War, like in essence, but a Star Wars version, kind of. With all the things that you run into, all the things you experience, it's crazy. The only difference, in my opinion, is just, you're a lower tier character in the Star Wars game because, like I said, you're a fucking Padawan starting out, and you're a rusty Padawan at that. And then you end up, by the time the game is done, you end up being a fully fleshed out, rookie Jedi Knight. You know what I mean? Because all the shit you went through and experienced and all the motherfuckers you had to fight, man. I mean, you could definitely say that you're a Jedi Knight. And I will definitely say that he earned the fucking right to be called that. He went through a lot of shit that I think, some Jedi wouldn't have fucking got out of there, alive, if they would have been presented with that same shit. That's just my opinion. But like I said, so many things, man, that I've experienced and saw and got to do in this game, and so many things that they allowed us to see and showed us. Just like I said, the history, like one of the stages, or areas in Zepho is just a crash site. It's literally a fucking crash site of a fucking huge, gigantic fucking spacecraft that's been crashed for some years. And like, that's part of the fucking stage. I mean, you go, navigating through that. It's sick, man. I mean, it's just completely awesome. I mean, I don't even know what to say, about it. And some of the boss fights, some of the characters you meet, going through this game. I mean, you meet this guy, on what planet is that? Oh, Dathomir. That's another dope planet. A lot of shit happens on that planet, man. But one of the things I thought was really cool is you get to meet another Jedi, who was basically a general in the Clone Wars. And then some shit happened. His clones turned on him. So he ended up fucking escaping to this planet, which if you're not familiar with that planet, Dathomir, it's a fucked up planet. You know what I mean? It's the same planet where Darth Maul is from. And, it's a dark place. Anyway, he crash landed there and he ended up turning to the dark side. You know what I mean? He ended up going crazy, losing his mind and going to the dark side, and ended up basically being a dictator on that planet. And became obsessed with learning, their magic and stuff. Like his character design was amazing as well. Like just so many things, you know, that you come across in this game, you know. Like I said, another Jedi. I mean, bounty hunters are fucking, you know, they're hunting you. Like I ran into this group called the Haxion Brood, which are probably my favorite characters design wise in this game. And there's a lot that's saying a lot, because some of these stormtroopers are fucking, they're dope. But yeah, the Haxion Brood, man, these fucking, you know, these bounty hunters, man, who one of them has augmented his body, you know, he's got cyborg parts, and I mean, they got blasters, jetpacks, and it's crazy. And they just came out of nowhere. I'm sitting there doing something and they just pop out of nowhere. And they always usually come in pairs. You know what I mean? Because they also have these kind of like this, I don't know, bounty hunter robot. And that motherfucker is, man, he smacks. He hits fucking hard like a truck. Very tricky, man. Died a lot fucking with that version. But, you know, you figure shit out. But I had some of the greatest experiences in this game, like some of those jaw-dropping experiences, some of those God of War experiences, man, just like I said, in the Star Wars skin, you know, telling the Star Wars story. And by the time I finished that game, I mean, you really felt like you were a fucking Jedi. And, you know, he struggled with that throughout the game, you know, with his guilt and with him thinking if he was good enough or not, and all of these things, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, Marion, you know, is a night sister from Dathomir, and you eventually, she's your enemy at first. He actually even tries to kill you at one point, along with the Jedi who basically crash landed there. His name is fucking what is his name? Oh, Taron. I think that's how you pronounce it, Taron Malicos. And you know, eventually you clean up that problem. And, you know, and then you basically become friends. And then not just friends, but she ends up joining your team, your squad. You know what I mean? And man, I want to say it's a potential love interest there between those two, because they've both been through the purge. You know, she suffered as well. She's one of the last survivors from the purge, and he's, you know, one of the last survivors as well. And they had that in common. And I think that's where they built their, you know, their kinship on first. And after that, you know, they kind of elaborated, and you can just kind of tell that they care about each other, you know, and they did it in such a way. It was very tasteful, man. It was written very fucking well. You know what I mean? And like I said, it brings me to the writing of the characters and of the story. I mean, I also ran into Saul Guerrera. If you guys aren't familiar with Saul Guerrera, he's the guy played by Forrest Whitaker from the movie Rogue One. I actually got to go help him do some mission. I mean, to free the Wookiees and all that. I mean, just they put you in this. You feel like you're in a fully fleshed out Star Wars universe, man. I mean, one cool thing I like about Star Wars, that I actually love about Star Wars, actually is the fact that the vastness of the universe. You know what I mean? Like, you think you've seen everything or you know everybody, and then you get introduced to another character, and it plays in so perfectly. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many Jedi out there. There's so many, you know, Sith, and so many, you know, other entities of people, wonderful people who do good things and some who do bad things in this universe, man. And I just, man, it's just so good. It's just so fucking good. I'm still learning about new characters. Every time I turn around, I'm finding something else out. So it's crazy, man. If you haven't played this game, please do yourself a fucking favor and play this. You have to. You absolutely have to experience this game, especially if you're somebody like me who are, you know, you're into those single player, third person experiences. This is one that is like hand written, made for you to play. You don't even have to be a Star Wars fan to appreciate this. It's because the story is great, and it takes you through a bunch of different things. You get to meet a lot of interesting people, and there's a lot of lore to be discovered. There's a lot of information to be discovered here. Like, I didn't get to recover everything. And I plan on going back and doing all that, finding all the secrets. And learning all the lore I can possibly learn from other things in this universe, and maybe even find a secret hidden boss or two in here. But yeah, man, I mean, the story was fucking great. Vader is in this fucking game, guys. Okay, he does make an appearance in this game at the end. When you're making it to the end and you actually run back into the Inquisitor for the last time, the second sister. I had a fucked up duel with the ninth sister, and I took her hand from her, and she fell off somewhere. So I don't know if she survived. Apparently, she's still alive somewhere out here in the Star Wars universe, but I don't know. But anyway, the second sister, though, that last fight, man, she got me a few times. It took me about 4 times, man, to get her. I had to get my feet up under me and, figure out her patterns and everything like that. But once I did, you know what I mean, you find out that, she's a victim. You feel bad for her because, she was taken by force. And then once you learn how that happened, I mean, you learn that your master gave you up because they tortured her to the point where they broke her and she gave you up. I mean, it's crazy. And then she ended up using the dark side to escape and get away. And she vowed to never fuck with the Force again. I mean, that was pretty much her basis of her story. And, living with that guilt, from her Padawan being kidnapped because of her and turned into an Inquisitor, which is fucking ironic. And all of that, to say, when you get to the end and you fight her, before she dies, she dies because you end up beating her in the fight, and Vader comes. That's when Vader shows up, and basically Vader, for punishing her for losing, Vader kills her. And but right before she died, she turned away from the dark side right before she died, and it was just kind of sad because you saw what it did to her. She didn't really want to be an Inquisitor, man. And I learned about some shit about the Inquisitors, man, today, which is crazy, in the Star Wars world, how, Vader and Palpatine and all those guys, they train Inquisitors a certain way so that they don't end up becoming stronger than them, later on and trying to overthrow them or whatnot. So they don't give them all the secrets that, they know. They're not training them, in tip-top condition. Matter of fact, they don't even train them to fucking use defense. Like, they frown down on them using defense because, it would make them better. They teach, to see your opponent, pounce on them immediately, try to take them out immediately, kill them immediately, and just go there. But if, you're fighting somebody who has somewhat any kind of defense, man, you might be screwed because, like I said, they don't know, they haven't been taught that purposely, trained a certain way, so for their own protection in their way. It's a trip. It's crazy. But yeah, man, I learned something new all the time. It was a very sad and tragic story for her. You actually even thought that Seer died at one point because Vader threw her off a fucking cliff, into some looked like lava from what I was looking at, but she ended up surviving. She is a Jedi Master, so, they have a few tricks up their sleeve. And she ended up surviving, and basically after the game, Vader, you end up approaching him, but you're no match for him. Vader is just Vader, and you're just a fresh Jedi. You know what I mean? You just learned to become, somewhat of a decent Jedi. Nothing, to make you think you can take Vader, even though you try, and Vader handles me accordingly. And then we have to basically run from Vader and escape from him. And we get away, with what we came for. And we decide to, not pursue it. Basically what we were trying to do was find out all of the, other, force sensitive, children, and there was a list of them all spread, their locations and whatnot. And basically Vader and those guys, they wanted that list so that they could go and purge and continue to purge and take them all out. But we were after the same thing. We got it. And what we were going to do was just go find all the kids. But then we, upon further review, decided, not to do that. It wasn't in the best interest for the kids because, it could put them in more danger. So we ended up destroying the list and, letting the Force kind of guide them and guide their futures and stuff. So, but at the same time, then I got a new crew. Like I said, now we're a team. I mean, you grew with all these characters, they grew on you, and now you have an actual squad. And the way that they left the game is just like, okay, so now what? So what's next? And then the credits start rolling, man. And I just got goosebumps because basically what they're trying to tell us is that, look, this is open ended right now, man. It breathes, it shits fucking sequel, like all over it. It's like begging, like, yo, where's the second part to this? And everything works out the way that they did it so good because he just now became a Jedi Knight. Okay. So now he can do some stuff. You know what I mean? And you kind of feel that as you progress through the game. Like as you get your abilities and you get stronger and stronger, you feel yourself starting to get more confident, and you're ready. You're almost eager to jump into battle, per se, as opposed to, when I first started playing, I was kind of timid and trying to get away with certain things and all of that. And you feel the growth. And after, the game ends, now you're like, okay, shit, now I want to come out here and learn more and do more things. And that's how they left it. You have a squad now. And, there's some more potential from some great writing with those characters, man, in there. Plus, the next game they could leave it started where, they could do a year from now, 2 years, whatever. And Cal would be now, he'd be seasoned now. He'd know a little bit more, and then he'd be room to learn more things, as the game progressed, some other abilities or whatnot, more elaborate abilities and stuff. So I think they could do something so awesome with a sequel, man. I'm already wanting a sequel, waiting for a sequel, and we'll probably end up getting one. And I think we all know it'll be on the next gen consoles, and I'm definitely okay with that because this game looked breathtaking in its own right. It didn't look as good as, say, I don't know, Death Stranding, but that game was damn near flawless graphically. And this is close though. I mean, if I had to give a grade of graphic fidelity, Death Stranding is a 10. This is a 9. It's close. I mean, the way that the physics in his hair, I mean, that's so sick. You'd have to see it first to believe it. And I'm playing on a standard PlayStation 4, not the Pro, not the Xbox One X. So I envy those guys playing on those devices. But like I said, I enjoyed the game. I give it a fucking 9 out of 10. The reason I'm giving it a 9 out of 10 is because of the fast travel points. I would have liked them to have some fast travel in this game. They did not. But, I see why they didn't do it, because there's shortcuts to be unlocked and there's ways around it. And, it's its own thing. It could be a pain in the butt for somebody who, who's beating the game and who doesn't want to, necessarily go back and do some of those things, but it is what it is. I struggled not to give it a 9.5, but 9 out of 10 is definitely, good. And like I said, just because it's not a perfect 10 does not mean that it's not game of the year. Like, this is my game of the year. And that was a hard sell. That was hard to make that decision because there was a couple Nintendo Switch games that I really, really care about. And I had to struggle with this, but it did win. And I'll get to that, my game of the year list on the future podcast, because I got some honorable mentions and stuff. But yeah, this game is, guys, I'm just telling you right now, please, I know I spoiled a lot of things and I spit a lot of shit out, man. But, there's been times where I've been spoiled on something and I still wouldn't fucking played it because I wanted to experience myself. And I'm not telling you everything that takes place in the game because there's so much shit to talk about. There's so many things that did happen that you aren't hearing from me right now. So, I mean, even after everything I've told you guys and said, I mean, there's still a shitload of things to discover and see and experience in this game. I'm telling you. I had to do this podcast. I had to talk about it. It was eating me up all fucking week. I had to tell somebody. I can't tell my boy Dig because I'm way ahead of him in this game. So I'm kind of envious of him because he hadn't had a chance to experience some of the things that I did. But, he should be done by, this next coming week because he got a lot of stuff going on. But Thanksgiving weekend, he said he's going to put in work and do it or whatever. If you guys don't want to buy it, hey, go rent it, man. Hit up a Redbox, or if you have a movie trading company in your area, they rent games. Go check that out there if you don't want to buy it. If you just want to, play with it for a little bit, you're going to get an easy 25, 30 hours out of this game. And, I got about just over 30 hours on it on a playthrough, and it still have lots of things to unlock and secrets and stuff to do. So, yeah, with that being said, guys, that's going to do it for the show. I want to thank everybody who came to listen to the show, and all the newcomers who are experiencing this podcast for the first time, guys. I'm glad that you came, and I hope to see you again. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you're playing the game, or if you've played the game, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. If you guys want to reach out and maybe even possibly become a guest on the show, yes, I said a guest on the fucking show. If you want to pick my brain, or even if you want me to pick yours, I mean, you can get at me easily on Twitter at Studio MacGyver, on Instagram at Studio MacGyver79. Also, check out the fucking Facebook page at Studio MacGyver as well. Also, if you want to look at some YouTube shit, hey, check out the YouTube channel. That's Studio MacGyver TV. Also, if you like merch, and I know I fucking like it, I fucking love it. Hats, backpacks, beanies, mugs, all of these things, guys. Yeah, you should fuck with Beautiful Nerds. Beautiful Nerds is www.beautifulnerds.com. Nerds is spelled Nurdz. You can get all some dope shit there. They update every fucking month, so there's always new stuff on there. Actually, you can if you want to show your love and support, there's fucking Studio MacGyver's Dragon Ball video game podcast, fucking t-shirts, hoodies, and mugs now available at Beautiful Nerds. So yeah, definitely check them out for that. I'll be, putting some information on the Facebook page about that, so you guys can check it out there, and so on and so forth. Anyway, guys, I want to tell you, I love you very much. All my listeners has been down from day one. Thank you. I appreciate you. All the newcomers, please. I hope you stay. I hope you enjoyed the show. I'm out of here. This is Studio MacGyver. You've been listening to Studio MacGyver's Dragon Ball and Video Game Podcast. See you next time.